All right, everyone, we're going live here in 5,
Quiet on the side.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Dr. Reese Live. This is episode 117. I am your host, Coach Sean.
Did last week count?
No,
Okay.
not at all. We're not even going to think about last week.
Okay.
I am your host, Coach Sean. Alongside with me is Coach Karen in the members room and Coach Tamra in the socials. As you know, we always do. We're going to start off with exclusive questions in the members room and then head over to the socials. All the while after we talk about our topic for today, which is focusing on mindfulness. We're going to go into victim-oriented thinking and the IC, inner child. So stay tuned for that. And if Dr. Reese, you don't have any announcements, we can go ahead and get this thing on the road.
I do have an
Oh,
announcement.
okay.
And I guess we can expand on it at a later date, but the membership is going to be going up November 1st, not for the people that are already in, but for the people that aren't in. So if anyone remembers when we came out with this thing in June, it was $55 a month, grandfathered in. So that indicates that, hey, you got a certain amount of time to get grandfathered in. So we are giving you till November 1st to get in at $55 a month. So www.calldrreese.com and talk to us and see if this is for you. Anyone that's in, you're gold. But if you
changes.
drop and then want to come back, you're not. I'm just saying.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you.
What do you want to talk about?
So let's talk about this topic that is pretty neglected.
Yeah.
Nobody really focuses on mindfulness, and it's been a while since we discussed it. So victim-oriented thinking
It's a root cause.
feels like an attack.
Yeah, it's a root cause to a lot of issues, including anger. Victim-oriented thinking or victim mindset or victimhood or whatever term you would like to use is when you feel like you're being mistreated. Sometimes it could be from another person. Sometimes it could be from the government or from the medical monopoly, maybe even, or from your town, or the police pull you over, whatever it is. When you start feeling like a victim, it boils up. It boils up. And the inner child, which is in all of us, starts to have temper tantrums. And if you don't get a hold of it, then it turns into anger. And anger is very violent. Very, very violent. So we want to avoid victim-oriented thinking, or what we want to be. You want to be able to handle it when it comes up. Many people have a wound inside of them that I call an injustice wound. It could be from when they were a kid, mom and dad. It could be so many different things. Maybe they got bullied in elementary school, kindergarten, it could be anything like that. It's a wound. And it stays with you. It stays with the inner child. So even though something happened to you at 5, you might still have that victim-oriented thinking at 50 or 60 or even 80. It's never going to go away unless you work on it. And that's the thing with mindfulness. If you don't do the training, you stay with the same wounds to the day you die.
How does one start working on it? do you do?
Well, my method is talking to the inner child.
Mm.
So if you're talking to the inner child and you're calming it down when it happens, what you're doing is you're having self-awareness. And that's the first step. If you don't have awareness, then you're in a dream. If you don't know what's happening, then you're on autopilot. It means you're not there. You're not human anymore. You're not a human being anymore. You're a dream machine. The computer in the skull is just gonna float away, and all these thoughts, and they're gonna be negative, right? And so you have to nurture the inner child. And it may take years and years, but at least you're acknowledging it. If you don't see it, then you get wounded. But if you see it and you're like, oh, I'm acting like a victim right now. Jeez. Okay. I get it. You know, that's a huge step. It's a huge step to actually know what's happening in the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know. Completely lost. Completely in a dream-based reality. But the thing is, Sean, life is unfair. When did you ever get a memo that said life was fair? When you were in kindergarten, did somebody slide you a piece of paper that said, hey man, hey kid, life's fair? You didn't know it's fair. It's not fair. It's never been fair. It's not supposed to be fair. If it was fair, you'd have no obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfair. And this is where my teaching comes in, my formula. The cheat code to inner peace is awareness, acceptance, and appreciation. So if you just put those three together, you can pretty much handle everything, including victim-oriented thinking or victim mindset. And that's even if you are a victim. You can be a victim. Somebody could rob your car. You're a victim. If somebody robs your car, you're a victim. It doesn't mean you have to act like one.
Oh no, my car.
And you can do that. You can do that.
Somebody help.
Yeah, you can do that for a minute. But at some point, you got to be like, oh, well, life isn't fair. It's all good.
It's kind of hard to accept.
Yeah, because people want to be in dream-based reality. It's more comfortable. It's kind of like bad posture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you've been sitting like this your whole life, you're not going to feel comfortable like this. You're going to be like, hey, how you doing, man? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. People don't want to be uncomfortable. The computer in your skull is running off of programming. So it's on you to deprogram and then reprogram. And nobody can do it except for you. Nobody can do it. You can listen to me talk till I'm blue in the face. It doesn't matter. You have to actually do it. And oh my gosh, people don't like to do things. You know? People don't like to do things. You got to face your demons, as society would say, which is just your mind. It's your programming. Victim-oriented thinking.
You think it folds into sabotaging yourself?
Yeah, it's sabotaging. but it's sabotaging without knowing. It's just a habit.
Yeah.
It's like biting your nails or something. You know, it's like if you've been biting your, if you've been like, oh, that's just my habit.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But when you act like a victim, you wound yourself. Your inner child is being wounded. And the issues are in the tissues.
Yeah.
So if you have fibromyalgia, if you have MS, if you have dementia, if you have migraines, if you have gut issues, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If you have health issues, 1/3 of that is coming from your mind.
Is it that second arrow phenomenon? Like,
Yes.
oh,
Yes. So if you get hit with one arrow
mm,
and you're like, ah,
I got cancer.
Ah,
Oh, sea monster.
yeah, there's the, all right. And then you start acting like a victim or you're angry or whatever, then there comes the second arrow.
Mm-hmm.
But the second arrow is mental pain
Yeah.
on top of the physical pain. When all you really had to deal with was the physical pain, but you created the mental pain.
Which exacerbates the physic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, where does one start if they want to, start talking? And because I'm sure people want to start, but they just don't know how.
The 120 is the best place to start because inside the 120 challenge is me teaching them how to nourish their inner child, which is the subconscious mind. We just call it the inner child so that you have something to wrap your hands around.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're like, the subconscious mind, I don't get it. What's that? Where is that? Where is that? But if you understand that it's a child and it needs to be nurtured, well, it makes it so much easier. And it works. And you'll start manifesting great stuff in your life.
Call drreese.com.
Call Dr. World Wide Web.
Oh my gosh.
.drreese.com. You know, the 120 has everything. That's why I recommend everyone does the 120. Everyone do the 120. Because it's got all 3 macro methods in it. It's going to jumpstart you
Yeah.
to head to toe healing. You got to take responsibility for the computer in your skull. I saw somebody on FB the other day underneath one of my posts say that, she was mad at her medical doctor because he said that her disease was all in her head. People get very offended by that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just said, well, 1/3. It's 1/3 in your head. And the other 1/3 is what? Nutrition. And the other 33% is what? Your musculoskeletal system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you approach every single issue as 33, 33, and 33, you can understand how to attack it so that you can find the solution. And we all want the solution. Everyone's looking for the solution. I was looking for the solution at one point. So aren't you? So wasn't Levi. So wasn't Karen. So wasn't Tamara. Everyone's looking for the solution. The solution is head to toe healing. And the first word is head. And inside that head is a computer. And it's got 2 cameras, 2 mics, and a speaker. And it connects to a motherboard called a spine. And so if you want to act like a victim, well, don't be surprised if you have gut issues. Well, don't be surprised if you have muscle issues. Don't be surprised if you got joint pain. You think it all comes from the food? You think it all comes from the posture? No. You're creating it. 33%. 33, 33, 33. The law of threes, okay? I'm open for any questions.
That before I go over to Karen, I want to say that like resonated with me because at one point when I was sick, I was extremely frustrated and I was questioning. It was like, I'm doing everything right. Notice how I'm saying it. I'm doing everything right. I'm sticking to the meal plan. I'm eating strict, so strict. I'm even fasting. I'm doing the supplements. I'm doing everything right. Like, why can't I get over this hump? And eventually, it was actually a medical doctor that kind of sparked that thing for me, that something was wrong with me, because he was like, well, he was just talking to me, but he was like, there is such thing as sick brain, where
Right.
you're so caught up in your disease, like it becomes your identity, and you're just like in that sick mindset, and it's corrupting your head. That he didn't say all that, but he said the sick brain thing, and then that's when like that's what caused me to go to you, because I know you worked on the mental aspect, and so I realized I needed help in that, and then it worked, So yeah, I wanted to go over to the members room, but before we do that, Karen, did you have anything to add to the topic before we answer any questions?
Sure. Actually, just reflecting on my experience when I met Dr. Reese and plugged into the program, it was amazing because I kind of discounted the mindfulness part. I mean, I'd done some meditation and I'd done some other practices, but I knew I needed nutrition. I knew I needed the posture because you told me I was pretty messed up. But I didn't realize how impactful the mindfulness training was going to be. So when I ended up doing the 120 program, it kind of subliminally happened on its own. And I wasn't really trying. It just kind of happened because I was busy. I didn't really have time for it. I'm just like, okay, I'll listen to Dr. Reese talk, and I would listen to it while I was driving. I would listen to it periodically throughout the day. And I really think what occurred, just like you were talking about, it's 3 sections. And by cleaning up the food and getting rid of the poor 4, the mind can be so much more clear and thoughtful and calm that the nutrition helped amazingly well. And then once the body wasn't in pain anymore and functioned properly, the mind just relaxed. It was incredible. Have you found that people, once they clean up the food act with the poor 4 foods, it makes a difference?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
I think it helps clear out a lot of the convolution that comes with diet, because in terms of getting toxins into your body, besides injections, food is the number one thing that what you consume can quite literally poison you. And so when you clear out, like, okay, it's not the food, we already have that elimination, and people coming in know to stay away from the poor 4, it clears out so much of that excess to where we can say, okay, now we can focus on the nutritional deficiencies without having to worry about the food blocking that or causing further inflammation.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's a genius diet.
Well, even with children, they're finding that there's more ADHD issues in school. There's more hyperactivity in school. And a lot of it stems from processed foods. And I know in your back pocket you've got Sunlight Sunny.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible to really launch that to the next generation so they don't have the same issues, which is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then additionally, I wanted to just say that with social media today, it's crazy. Either people post their happiest, joyous moments that are perfect realities or perceptions, I should say, or they're posting a traumatic experience. It's like one or the other. They don't post just everyday stuff. Well, some people do, I think. Anyway, so I have an example. I have a neighbor and she just had a traumatic day. She went to the grocery store, she went out to her car and she just said all these horrible bad words because she went out to the car and she had a flat tire and it was just disrupted her day. And I just had to laugh because the same thing happened to me the same day. And I went out to my car and I giggled because it was the third time it happened to me within 7 months. I was giggling, just like, oh my gosh, it happened again. It was a third vehicle too. So it happened on 3 different vehicles to me. And I just giggled and I called the, AAA and I had them come help me. And I went to the tire repair store and fixed it. But she wanted everybody part of her traumatic experience to feel sorry for her that day. And the only reason why I said anything is I posted on her page saying, same thing happened to me, I just had to giggle. It's all perception.
Yeah.
And how you handle it. And I was calm about it. I was upset.
Yeah. It's just acceptance. It's very, very, very powerful. It's extremely powerful. And it's a great practice to get into is when something does happen to you that's quote unquote bad, smile. Even if you have to force it, just smile. You're automatically going to feel better if you smile. And laugh. I mean, I laugh all the time. Full-blown laugh on the worst things you've ever seen because it's hysterical. Life is, I say life is a joke and then you laugh. It's not a bitch and then you die. That's the old saying. It's a joke and then you laugh.
Yeah.
Well, even with confrontation, people are faced with that all the time. And if you're in a situation where you're dealing with something you don't want to do or you're not happy about it, but instead of making waves, you just say thank you and don't add a lot of other words and move on. And I find that with the aging parents. Sometimes they can be very reactive. They have very strong opinions that have been around for many years, decades. And instead of engaging in confrontation and debate, it's so much easier just to say thank you for the information and move on.
Yeah. Life is a comedy. Life is a school. And that's what it is.
So we do have a few comments and questions in the Zoom room.
Okay.
So Lori says, great topic. I needed this today. My inner child feels broken. And then Denise says, people need to have responsibility for themselves. She recently, her car was stolen and vandalized last year. The way it happened was very traumatic, but she moved on and people told her, just get up and move on.
Yeah.
It's important to look at next steps to see what you need to do and then just do them.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to dwell on it. You don't need the instant replay.
Yeah.
And there are those people that do that. There's somebody I used to work with. every single person heard about her sad story throughout the whole day. She would repeat the story 25 to 30 times, every person. She just wanted them to feel her sorrow or her pain. And it frankly was draining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Milagros wants to share something, if that's okay. She
Yes.
can come up.
Absolutely.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Dr. Reese. It's
Hi.
Milagros. You know, my
Hi.
name is weird. People always mispronounce my name. It's Milagros. But be that as
Milagros.
it, thank you. I wanted to share something that I learned that was given to me spiritually many moons ago. And the first thing they told me was, in order for me to heal, I had to understand that the mind is not an organ, first of all. The mind is not an organ. You don't survive on the mind. You don't need the mind in order to survive. So therefore, if you eliminate it and remove the mind from the body, you still function. You're still a live human being, able to do everything that you do on a daily basis. Now, it's the mind that disables you. So if you look at everything as the mind is not an organ, I don't need it. Why am I in it? It's because you control it. It's like that cloud AI. You save everything to a cloud now. Your mind is your cloud. Not only does it cloud your senses, it clouds your judgment, it clouds your life. It's your cloud, and you enable it. You created it. If you don't want to live in your mind, get rid of the cloud. Get rid of that mindset that you have. That woe is me mentality is because you don't live in the present. You live in the past, or you anticipate the future, which does not exist.
That's right.
There, you have to become no one, no name, no person. You have that in your studies, and I love that because I've taken those classes many times also with several masters. But be that as it is, you don't live in the current time frame. You live in the past or you live in the future, and you're set in your mind. You don't need your mind. You created it. Get rid of it.
That's right. Well said.
Well said. Thank you, Milagros.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey,
Until
I was wondering
tomorrow.
if I could add something.
Absolutely, Ken.
Hey, everybody, good to see you all. I'm going to put the phone down for a sec because of the angle I'm at. Hey, thanks for the great topic. And, you know, one of the prayers I do in the morning that I learned in AA was to ask God to divorce my thinking from all self-pity, dishonesty, and self-seeking motives. And I think the victimhood kind of takes on two different forms. It can take on the self-pity where you just go really inwardly and really feel bad for yourself. And the poor four foods are great for that. You know, they tie in with that perfectly. Or, like you said, if it turns to anger, you start thinking that everybody is against you. And you start losing boundaries and you start acting out either verbally and even physically towards other people, as some people do. And, you know, my wife and I went through a lot of crazy traumatic stuff in a really short period of time, a number of years ago. And I've been processing some of that with Amber and in therapy and whatnot. We lost a potential kid doing in vitro. My dad died from a freak accident. Her dad died, and two of her friends died, all within a really short period of time. And now that's pretty traumatic stuff. And I think I was so wounded that it wasn't a self-pity thing or a victimhood thing. I was just so wounded I couldn't even function, you know, and the same with my wife. And got through it, but thinking back and doing the work that you've suggested with the inner child, my inner child is right there with me because, you know, my kid knew my dad, and my dad was amazing, you know, and when he died suddenly 4 days before Christmas, you know, it was just too much to even process, you know? So I've learned through all that to find the grace in it, as opposed to, you know, like you said, life's unfair and, you know, why me and all that. And I just can't afford to do that. And the one last thing I'll say, just finished my 120 yesterday, by the way. So woohoo! Anyway, and the main thing that I've, you know, the poor foods, I've learned that, the mindfulness, the postural, everything. But the main thing that I've learned is when my brain tries to come up and tell me when a symptom comes up or a situation, I recognize it, like you said, that awareness. And I may not go into a happy place, but I refuse to go into that rabbit hole of darkness. I just can't do it, man. And I'm learning that. And that is worth the price of admission 10 times over. So I'm grateful for you all. Thank you.
Ken, as long as you're aware, it's okay. There's millions and millions and billions of people out there that aren't even half as aware as you are. They're walking around in a dream world. As long as you're aware, let's say you're feeling a very strong emotion. Could be a negative emotion. You're sad, let's say. If you can figure out why you're sad, that's huge. And then you can dive in even more and perform surgery and say, oh, there's the root cause. You don't have to do it at the time. You could do it the next day or something. But, oh, there's the root cause to why I was sad. And then you're going to find a lack of acceptance and a lack of appreciation. And so you just reverse the cause. And then you just understand that you're running off of programming. It's nobody's fault. You made yourself sad. But you were programmed to do that, you know? It's like, again, like biting your nails. If you bit your nails all through high school, you probably do it in your 50s and 60s too. It's just a habit. Well, thank you for sharing, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Karen, was there anybody else that wanted to share or had comments, questions, concerns?
We're all good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So before
We should do mindfulness topics more often.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good little treat. It's refreshing, especially when people contribute. So before we kick it over to Coach Tamara, I wanted to get in for anybody that wanted that first step in understanding where to start, like wanted to get into the 120 program, have questions. What is the head to toe analysis? What is the membership? Definitely starting at calldrreese.com is the number one source you could start at, just to get a good understanding of where to go next, even if we're just referring you to the books. That's always, I think that's the best part of our program, is talking to somebody. You get to talk to somebody, and
our phones are open.
Yeah. That's all day. We're talking to everybody.
He's laughing because he's on them.
All day, every second of my life. But making connections and talking to people, I think that's what we're missing in this time. And I think that, again, I think that's the highlight. So call drreese.com if you are curious to learn how to start with us. For anything, just call drreese.com. So Tamara, Coach Tamara, are you with us?
I'm here.
Everybody,
Coach Tamara's back.
Yeah.
She took 9 months off to give birth to 4 dogs.
Don't bark right now because I'll make a sound. I'll start barking. Don't want that to happen. I'm trying to keep them quiet.
In the wilderness?
Yeah, a nice wilderness.
Okay.
So yeah, most of you probably recognize her voice or her face. And yeah, we're happy to have her back. But Coach Tamara, did you have any questions in the socials?
Yeah, I do. Let's see here. I have Lip Sense Karen. She's asking, do you have to have an analysis to become a member right away?
You do have to have an analysis. It is a requirement that we now have for the membership because we want everyone to understand what's wrong with them before they come into the solution.
Mary Seed wants to know, what do you think of detoxing down to a cellular level?
Well, I used to be in the detox community, so wasn't Tamara, and I think we would both agree that, you know, it's just something in the toolbox to pull out if absolutely needed, but I would never start there. I would never start there. It's too intense for the body. And you're going to lose a lot of nutrition detoxing, a ton.
Someone is asking for his friend. They're on medicine for thyroid. And he's asking, well, he's saying when they are off the meds, his eyes burn, his skin itches, and he gets irritable. Any quick tips?
Well, there's not really a quick tip that I can give, but, you know, this person should get an analysis and see what's actually wrong with them. A lot of people with thyroid issues have something going on with their thoracic spine. And they have a cervical flexion, you know, in their neck, and they're leaning on the throat area. Well, that's where the thyroid is.
Organs don't like to be pushed, pulled, or squeezed.
No. So, you know, I suggest getting an analysis and then making a decision on if you want to join the membership and start your head-to-toe healing journey. But quick tips aren't really my thing. I mean, there's too much context involved.
Yeah.
And the thyroid's complicated too. The thyroid is very complicated.
Yeah.
It's probably the second most complicated after the liver. Go ahead.
Felicia wants to know,
Shout out to Felicia.
how do you nurture the inner child? Is it by acknowledging it?
Yeah, you have to acknowledge it, and you usually give it a nickname, so you can talk to it. And in the 120, I teach people the structure of what to say, and there is a meditation that you do to connect to it first. So you connect to it. You let it know that you're here for it, and then once you're connected, it's there. It's like you're the adult in the room. You know, and the inner child needs the adult. Inner child doesn't make decisions, but it can affect your body, for sure.
Felicia she also had a comment. She said, when I realize my inner child is getting louder, I don't tell her off anymore. I acknowledge and say, I got you. I think that's important.
Absolutely. You're giving the inner child confidence that you're in control. Don't worry about it. I got this. You know? And it could even be positive thoughts. Your inner child could be going crazy on love. Say you meet someone new, you go on a few dates and you can't stop thinking about them. That's the inner child, like, oh my gosh, yay, you know? And it can get a little annoying, you know? It's like, all right, relax. Relax. But I got this. Like, don't make this the end all be all, you know? It's how people can become obsessed.
Yeah.
La Fruta is asking, what do you think of QEEG scans? QEEG scans? My 20-year-old son has a slow brain. He smoked pot for a few years, and it made him faster and easier to perform daily tasks, but the marijuana caused a lot of anger.
Yeah, so marijuana is not recommended for young people. Like, you're supposed to be, I'd say 27 or older if you're going to smoke weed, because the brain is still developing, And so we have this bad habit as humans of becoming potheads at young ages, 15, 16, 17 years old. There they are. That's Tamara's inner child. That's her true inner child. So, if this kid was smoking weed at a young age, it can definitely change the brain, and that's not something you want to do. As far as the scan that she mentioned, I'm not really familiar with that.
Yeah, I think just like over the years, it's been touted as, non-addictive is the go-to, but I think you can abuse it, and when you do, it's like the opposite effect. Like
we could do a topic on weed at some point.
Next topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially anesthesia. So.
Someone's also asking, would you mind explaining why I have depression and anxiety and personality changes?
Well, it could be nutritional deficiency, of course. It could be a postural issue, like your neck could be forward, forward head, and lymph is just built up in your brain. And even more common is going to be a mindfulness problem. Just being stuck in your head, being in the past too much, being in the future too much. Perhaps your priorities aren't in order. It just depends.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a celebrity and you're rich and famous and you're still depressed, I put my money on a nutritional deficiency. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're, 25 years old and you're broke and you're in your mom's basement and you're like, what the heck am I doing here? Maybe you're just down on yourself because you haven't gotten out into the world. You haven't succeeded, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there's different ways that people can become depressed and anxious.
Yeah.
No one wants to live in mom's basement. Go ahead.
Anything else, Tamara?
Can you hear me? Yes. What is the 120?
The 120 is a program that I developed back in 2016. So it's 8 years old. And it is the way that we've gotten the most healings on video that anyone's ever seen. And it is inside the membership. So people can come in and do their 120. And it'll jumpstart you into head-to-toe healing.
And they want to know, do you have to do the mindfulness when doing the analysis?
No, the mindfulness is just a category. The analysis is just a way for us to evaluate you. And you walk away with a symptom score. That's really important to know your symptom score because that's what's going to tell you if you're getting better. So after your analysis, let's say your symptom score is a 43, which is high, right? You come into the membership, you do the 120, you do what you're supposed to do. Maybe it comes down to a 26. So you just went from a 43 to a 26, right? And then you're like, wow, this is great. And now you want to work harder and get that 26 down to a 16 and then down to a 6. And maybe you can get to 0. I haven't met anyone with a 0 yet. I mean, even I have 2 or 3. Everyone's got some symptoms. But you don't want to be a hot mess, which is a 30 or up. 30 or up is a hot mess. So that's how we judge your health status, is with a symptom score.
I have Felicia asking again, is lack of decision-making a side effect of some lack of nutrient, or is it more of mindfulness?
No, it could be a little of both. We're talking about discernment here. If your brain is lacking nutrients, you definitely could have some lag decisions, right? But it could be a mindfulness issue for sure.
Yeah.
I just, I'd put my money on mindfulness though, because when I think back to my youth, I've always been a really good decision maker. Just going back to 16 years old, 17 years old, I've just always been like a problem solver, able to, and I know I was nutritionally deficient. I mean, that's a given. So, sometimes it's just about how you train yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or, certain people come into the world with certain gifts. Not everyone's a good decision maker. Not everyone's a good problem solver. So it just depends.
Cecile wants to know, how do you laugh when a person is ungrateful?
Well, knowing that their ungratefulness is just in their programming. And that's how you forgive.
Madeline wants to know, so are you a Buddhist?
No. But I studied a lot of Eastern cultures in my day. It's not... Mindfulness has no religion. It's just the science of the brain and how it works. Buddhism is notorious for that. But somebody turned it into a religion. So.
Let's see here. Felicia's asking, can eating right stop brain fog and anxiety?
Yes. Absolutely. Get off the poor four foods. Get on the 90 essential nutrients. Start doing your thing. Get in the 120. Get an analysis. Find out what your symptom score is. Start bringing it down. Start doing what you have to do.
All of these are going to help you. Every single one of those things that he just listed off. And some of those things you can test right now. You can start today and test. You can put his word to the test and you will see yourself get better. And then as you get better, slowly implement more. Get an analysis. Call drreese.com. Learn more about
World Wide Web.
www.calldrreese.com.
No, because the three W's are important because
It's not.
No, because people think it's calldrreese.com. They're like,
It is.
like they think it's drreese.com. And
It's called Dr.
and
Reese.
call is a verb.
They're saying call drreese.com.
Right. Like they're picking up their phone and they're going,
I
wait,
want one of you guys to call drreese.com.
www.calldrreese.com.
I saw some comments pop up in the members room, so I just wanted to check with Karen. Do we have any questions or comments?
More comments. Mila Gross says that her affirmation on a daily basis when she rises or before she closes her day is, my body is in perfect harmony. Every cell vibrates with radiance, health, strength, and vitality.
Nice.
And it never fails her. She also added that she's been practicing Buddhism for over 25 years, and it is not a religion, it is a philosophy.
True.
And we did have a question from Voice in the chat, but I'm not quite sure what she's saying here. So I believe she's saying, what is the cost of being too thirsty when you have diabetes, especially at night?
The cost? You mean the cause, probably?
Cause.
I was about to say, how much does that cost?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta first of all, get rid of the diabetes if
Yeah.
it's type 2. You know? But, you know, salt and water have to be, sodium and water have to be balanced. There's something that's key right there. But I would just go after the actual condition, you know? We have the blood sugar protocol right there in the membership.
Mm-hmm.
She did confirm it is type 2.
Yeah. Easily reversible. Type 1 is not, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anything else, Karen?
And I just caused a little bit of a fuss on 50 Cent's Instagram
What did you say?
because he was, you know, putting this gentleman by the name of Dame Dash on blast, you know. Hip hop culture, a lot of people don't know who I'm talking about right now, but because his teeth fell out, right? But he has type 1 diabetes, so I just made the point that, you know, it very well could have been blood sugar affecting the teeth. And it got like 1,000 comments underneath, you know. 50 Cent has a big page, so it's like a whole universe.
It was hate comments or?
Yeah, it's both, of course.
Mm.
Of course. Of course.
Wow. Interesting. Anything else, Karen?
No, not right now. Although there were a couple of questions that came up this week when I was talking to individuals. Maybe you could address these.
Sure.
What parts of the membership address ulcerative colitis?
120. Do the 120 for any gut issue.
Yeah.
And then how do you handle psoriasis? Is that an easy fix?
Yep. I'd go with the 120 on that one as well. Absolutely. We've had plenty of psoriasis reversals. Tons. Skin is one of the most easy.
Yeah. That was it.
That's all.
Thank you so much, Karen. All right, for the last 6 minutes, I wanted to hop back over to Coach Tamara and see if we have any last questions or comments in the socials.
Coach Tamara and the dogs. And the dogettes.
The dogettes.
The dogettes.
Someone's asking, what are your thoughts on comfrey that is being used now for healing, also known as a bone Band-Aid?
I think it could be good. It could be good, but you know, there's a lot of context involved, so leave that alone for now.
No, they're still.
We can hear them bark. It's okay.
They're really loud.
It's okay.
It's the workers outside. Was another question. Iron deficiency. What can be done?
Well, you got to fix the gut. You're not absorbing iron, so it's probably a gut issue right there. Yep.
And someone's asking, how does a membership work exactly?
Well, after you get your analysis, then you know what's wrong with your body, and then you can get into the membership and you can start coming to the postural alignment therapy classes, and you can start doing the courses, and, you know, it's a la carte.
Yeah.
The only thing that, you know, the courses are all on demand, but it's the 120 that is the granddaddy of them all. So that's a 5-month commitment.
Yeah, I always say, like, the posture is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is be consistent with that. It's the nutritional categories, but that are every deficiency that you have on the analysis, correlates to a nutritional protocol. And so even that is just like straight across the board. Are you high in a certain area? If so, then correct it with the protocols on the 120. All of them, with every section, it's a correlating protocol. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Anything else, Tamara? She's busy.
And the dogettes.
So someone was asking, so after the analysis, do you put someone on the protocol custom to that person? Can you explain?
Yeah, well, in the 120, they you go after certain areas. So there'll be the gut, and then there'll be the soft tissue, the hard tissue, the blood sugar. And so we're taking care of the whole body.
Okay, I have a comment, Lynn saying they can't wait to join the analysis. Thank you. Looking forward to joining.
Call drreese.com.
Someone's asking, there are juvenile diabetic type 1. Can that be reversed?
No, the cake is already baked, but we can make you feel better and have a better life.
Yeah.
Someone's asking about a tumor on the tumor on the pituitary gland.
Yeah.
Is that an easy fix?
Well, tumors are, I want to say they're easy because we've gotten rid of so many, but it just depends on the tumor, the size and is lymph moving in that area and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I can't say if it's easy or hard, but the body is trying to protect you. That's what a tumor is. It's a cocoon. It's holding on to those toxins. It's like trying not to let them go.
There's a quick question about the gut rescue. They're food sensitive to apple cider vinegar and lemon. Will lime and salt work also?
Yes, absolutely.
What about high blood pressure?
Blood pressure is a symptom of being unhealthy. So we don't really go after the blood pressure. You go after the whole body.
Kind of comes down as a side effect.
Yep. It's just kind of like weight.
Mm-hmm.
Same sort of thing. Right, dog?
Last question here that I'm seeing. What causes a lymph node in the armpit?
Oh, it's the same sort of thing. The lymph isn't flowing, and it's just stuck in that lymph node, and it's just blown up. It needs to move.
Yeah.
And you want it to move. And we have a lymph rescue in the membership. Start massaging.
I got a question from the YT.
YT,
Wow.
what'd it be?
Can you have a healing crisis when starting this program? Like detox symptoms, headaches, stuffed nose, ear pain?
Yeah,
that stuff?
anyone can have a healing crisis at any time. Absolutely. It's in the disclaimer, believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes people get spooked out by it, but that's, if you spent 60 years messing yourself up and you come do this for a year, you're bound to feel something
Yeah.
because you're undoing a whole lot of damage. And some people get better. Like their symptom score will go from like a 30 to a 7, right? That's like love us, right? Like their whole life has changed. When you go from a 30 to a 7, and then 8 months into the head to toe healing journey, that 7 goes back up to a 10. And it's like, wait, 3 symptoms just came back. And it's like, well, that's kind of part of healing because you're going to have to go through the pain to get to the peace.
Peaks and valleys.
especially with posture,
Yeah.
because you're undoing all this muscle tension. You're just, oh my gosh.
You're moving things,
Yeah.
opening up dams, and
Opening up dams. That's right. That's right. It's a good way to put it. And emotionally, too. Like we hear a lot of times when someone's just in static back, they just start crying because they're releasing. They're releasing. There's issues in the tissues, and it's just flowing out and it's coming out, and it's part of the deal. And people ask all the time, like when we have member meetings, which are on Thursdays, by the way, for folks that don't know, it's private.
same time as lives.
And it's people always ask, well, such and such is happening. Is this normal? Like nothing is normal with healing. Nothing is normal with healing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like all of a sudden your lower back can hurt. And all of a sudden your right toe can hurt. All of a sudden your left ear feels funny. Because just everything's just changing. Everything's just moving. So you have to understand head to toe healing. And you have to understand how the body works. And it takes the fear away. And it's a great opportunity to go nurture the inner child because you're dealing with fear.
Thank you. Well, that was the last question. It is 7:02. I wanted to hop back over to the members room and see if anybody had any last comments or if any of the coaches had any last comments before we wrap this thing up.
We do have a couple more questions and comments
Okay.
in the Zoom room. So Priscilla's asking, she's saying, hello all, Dr. Reese, my sister is giving iron fusions twice weekly. Why is that necessary?
Because they don't know how to fix the gut.
Yeah.
So they're treating the symptom. That's all that is.
And then Bose is asking, can a child be made to follow this new food we practice here in the membership? Since it is said that kids need sugar to grow.
I've never heard that one. I mean, obviously, we all need a little carbohydrates. But yes, I think kids can absolutely be poor for free. Stay off the gluten, stay off the oils, stay off the fried, stay off the fake. They'll get plenty of sugar with potatoes and rice and beans or broccoli or whatever.
Yeah, we don't say cut sugar. If anything, all of the poor four are unnatural and processed in some way.
Right.
So it's like this is just going back to a whole food diet. You still got fruits, you still got carbs, and really that's all you need. But yeah, I think it's absolutely doable. Anything else, Karen?
What about tinnitus? Is that nutrition, posture, or both?
More than likely both. And mindfulness as well. 33, 33, and 33.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you get an analysis, you can see it. I did a bunch of analyses this week with ringing in the ears checked off.
Yeah.
And you see the neck is just, yeah. I've been doing a lot of analyses lately. Keep them coming. Call drreese.com. We'll get you in. We'll even hook you up with $100 off maybe.
Yes.
So just give us a call.
Absolutely.
No one else in the world is doing this analysis. That's for sure. Not yet, anyway. Karen and Sean are next.
You ready?
I think Karen could do it now. What do you think?
Getting close.
Oh, Sean, you've seen a lot. Maybe you could do it now.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be nice.
Anything else, Karen?
Denise says I can identify with the healing process. After the posture alignment therapy, I get relief in the primary area, but the opposite area has some pain.
That's right. That's right. Because we're left and right creatures, right? Left arm, right arm, left ear, right ear, left eye, right eye. We're split. And so it's just this very odd structure, and there's muscles pulling on each other, and it's a tug of war. And that's how the pelvis tips forward and backwards. It's the muscles pulling it down or pulling it down in one direction.
Hmm.
And then one more question is, do you have a way to teach where we could do this too? I'm a massage therapist and I've had a postural analysis class, but I really want to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on coming out with an academy, but it's slowed down because of other projects. Because we're working on Sunlight Sunny for the children. So I just put a deposit down on animators. So, in fact, I was approving characters this morning. They were sending over the characters, and Levi was working on Barkley today. What his hair looks like, what his outfit looks like. So, creating characters for children, and it's going to be a really big deal. It'll be everything that we're doing right now will be small in comparison to the Sunlight Sunny and Friends project.
Stay tuned. All right, everybody. It is 7:08. Dr. Reese, do you have any last notes?
You always open the show with welcome, welcome, welcome. Now you should end it with goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
No.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
You really want me to do that?
No, it should be later, later, later.
Peace, peace, peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Over. Well, before we get off, I want to say, all of this is possible. All of this is brought to you by Levi. Our tech
Levi
whiz.
gets the shout at the end.
Yeah, Levi has to get a shout out at the end because, he runs this whole thing and this wouldn't be possible without him. So thank you, Levi. I'm going to start doing this all the time because he deserves.
And we don't announce him in the beginning anymore.
Yeah, we don't. So he needs some type of announcement, though. So what?
Call drreese.com.
I'll do a different one each time. But peace, and
More peace.
more peace. Thank you, everybody.